the Equal Employment Opportunity Act, knowing the history behind it and why it had to be put in place. You can't cast your vote for him and look at me and tell me that you love me.
Civil rights was the worst thing that could have ever happened to black people in this country. Well, other than slavery in this country. And a lot of you guys agreed with me. And there were some people who had the question like, can you explain? So I'm going to explain.
You're done. And I mean that for life.
Somebody had the nerve to ask me, what type of black person would ever support Donald Trump? I tell you what type of black person would ever support Donald Trump.
Hello amazing viewer, this is Comfort for Life. I bring to you a compilation of TikTok videos together with famous channel show videos for educational purposes. If you're new here, consider subscribing, and to my returning viewers, I love and appreciate you for your immense love, continued support. I love you, appreciate you, thank you so much. Your love for this channel is on another level. I love you and I don't take it for granted. Let's dive into today's video. Before we go further, I would let us listen to this video and let me know what you think.
I'm going to be very short and very to the point. To the white people watching this, and especially to the white people that know me in the real world, my friends, okay? Today, Trump did away with the Equal Employment Opportunity Act. You know the history of that, and you know why it had to be implemented in the first place. So when you went in that booth, if you cast your vote for Donald Trump, we're done. If you didn't hear me the other times I've said it, I just want to reiterate it now. You cannot vote for somebody that takes away the Equal Employment Opportunity Act, knowing the history behind it and why it had to be put in place. You can't cast your vote for him and look at me and tell me that you love me. You're done. And I mean that for life. Unfucking believable. They try to paint it as this saving grace for civil rights when really they just want to fill the federal government with all of their selected employees that are loyalists no matter what. So even after the 4 years that Donald Trump is done, even if another MAGA loyalist or Republican takes the presidency, they still have to go through all of this bullshit because now you got only MAGA federal employees. No diversity, no inclusion. Talking about some fucking based off merit. We know what it has to be based off. Did you bend the knee to Donald Trump? Cool. You now have a job in the federal government. We fired everybody else. You knew what you were voting for. Donald Trump knows he cannot run again. If you think you think they're doing all this shit just to disappear in 4 years, they're setting it up for the long game. They're setting it up for the fucking long game. So now if I go in and I want to get a loan for a home, if I want to get a business loan, I guarantee you it's going to be so much easier for the white man who they love and select to get a loan than it is for me to start my business. Fast forward into the next generation, my bloodline is now affected because I couldn't start my business as soon as this guy could because he's white and he got the loan. It's an example, but do you see how shit like this affects generation after generation after generation? We get robbed of opportunities because of your selfish ass vote. Did he sign an executive order for price gouging? Did he sign a fucking executive order for these grocery stores to stop looking at you with no fucking money and increasing the prices anyway? That's what he told y'all. Where's the executive order for that? Oh, well, it's a process and it's complicated. It can't excuses. Like it always fucking is from y'all. Done, dude. Out my fucking face, man. Think about how big of a fucking pussy you have to be, man. You don't want anybody criticizing you or speaking out against your ideology, so you try to suppress the flow of information in social media because you're a strong leader, but you can't take fucking criticism. And then on top of that, when you lose or when your people lose, you blame it on fucking DEI and the corrupt government. Because the guy who you fucking lost to is not fucking white, but he's also more qualified than you. You can't fucking wrap your head around that. You have fucking terminal, incurable hatred in your heart. And it's genuinely not until recently I had to accept that even those type of people can fucking exist. I cannot control your existence, but I can control your access to my fucking life, bro. Out of here.
Somebody had the nerve to ask me, what type of black person would ever support Donald Trump? I tell you what type of black person would ever support Donald Trump. The type of black person who will lay hands on you and pray for you. The type of black person who wants best, not just for the individual, but the entire nation. The type of black person who doesn't look at identity politics and have to see somebody with the exact same level of melanation as they have in order for them to be behind their initiative. The type of black person who has morals and values and integrity and stands for something. That's the type of black person that supports an individual such as Donald Trump. You know, the black folk who actually care for, God forbid, values and morals and actually have a high integrity and a level of standards that are maybe, I don't know, a little higher than twerking on stage. Maybe that type of black person, maybe the type of black person who actually wants to uplift the community as opposed to suppress them and tell them that they are victims, that they are oppressed, and that they can do nothing for self. Maybe that type of black person, maybe. But that's just me.
I came across this video on my For You page on TikTok and decided to bring it here because I feel like we're going to have this conversation for the longest time. He has spoken his mind, they have spoken their mind, and they have the right to speak. I know they have spoken on behalf of so many people who also think the same. My question is this. So I have a question for us. Was Kamala Harris supported by all black people, or are they also white people who wanted her for president? And also, since it happened that Donald Trump becomes the president, he is the president right now, why do you think that it's only white people who elected him? But it's also important to note that there are also some misinformations that are passing around. So it's important for you to filter the information that is coming your way. So did we really get right this civil right of 1964 that was revoked? Did we get the full picture? Is Donald Trump really against equality? I want us to listen to this girl.
Ever since Trump has taken office, there has been 3 top stories that are full of misinformation and misrepresentation. Let's get into it. One of them is that Trump ended the Equal Opportunity Act. This is simply not true. What Trump did was end diversity, equity, inclusion, DEI programs, which promoted hiring based off your sexual orientation, gender, age, your race, or your ideologies or way of thinking. What Trump is doing is bringing back to a merit-based system which promotes hiring and equality for all. We are Americans, guys, so this makes sense. What he did do was rescind Executive Order 11246, which was enacted by President Johnson, which mandated affirmative action for federal contractors. Another lie that's been going around on the internet is that the non-custodial parent that pays child support can stop the custodial parent from filing or getting a tax return for their children. This is simply misinformation and not true. Another lie that we have to debunk is that ICE or the Trump administration are paying everyday American citizens $750 to basically tell where illegal migrants are living or staying. These are all lies, guys. We have to make sure we are vetting our information, fact-checking it, because before you repost, share it, or make a video about it, because what is happening is that those who are angry, particularly the left, that he's president, are using people to promote this fake ideologies, these fake stories, and basically blatant lies. So remember, vet your information. Do not be used as a catalyst or a tool in somebody's game. And he is the president of the United States. At the very least, you might not like that, but respect it.
So there's a rumor that I don't know how true it is, that Trump is rolling back those civil rights anti-discrimination laws where they can discriminate against you based on your color, age, sex, religion, ethnic background, all of that, right? And I see a lot of us talking about how bad that is, how terrible that is. We're going back to Jim Crow and, you know, kind of like, and I see how that would maybe instill a little bit of fear. But I want to ask the question. Now, when I said this, a lot of people agreed with me when I said civil rights was the worst thing that could have ever happened to black people in this country. Well, other than slavery in this country. And a lot of you guys agreed with me. And there were some people who had the question like, can you explain? So I'm going to explain. And I want to ask you this question first. Was the black community better in every area before the civil rights or after the civil rights? Ask yourself that question. Now, keep in mind, the system that we have now was not in place back then. So let me tell you the answer. We did way better before civil rights, before the civil rights movement, and before integration. We did way better because we had our own banks. We had our own homes. We owned land. We had our own businesses. Our families were intact. We had communities. We literally had everything with each other. Once we integrated, it was like going from a self-contractor or owning your own business to now becoming an employee with a manager. And who do you think the manager was? Okay. With a manager, you have what? Less pay, more rules, micromanagement. What does management do a lot of times? They set you up to fail. Some may nitpick and harass you, put you in bad positions. What is going on now? But I will tell you who civil rights benefited. Everybody else except for us. Everybody else except for us. Our families are destroyed. The prison industrial system came along. A lack of income, jobs. When I tell you, integration destroyed us as a people because it forced us to be around people that did not like us and would use that power to destroy us. And they absolutely did. And I don't think anyone can deny that. Like, nobody can deny that that's exactly what happened. It was a slow progression. But in every single area of the Black community, we have gotten worse and worse and worse and worse. And just now are we starting to rise back up. A lot of people look at what, if they're saying is true, what Trump is doing as a bad thing. But I don't feel that way. I look at that as a sign that the system is crashing. The system that has destroyed us is coming to an end. And that we may be going back and being redeemed. Our families coming back intact. Our spiritual essence to God, our connection with God is going back. We're starting to find our way back. That's how I choose to look at it. And I really think that that's what's happening. Under this system, yes, what he's doing may be bad. But I think there's a whole lot of us that are ready to be out of this system. We no longer want to be a part of this system. But of course, we still need to live. We still need to survive because that's all we know. But like I said, I believe this is a setup for the future and how we are going to be outside of this system as a people. And I'm excited. I'm sure you're ready just as well as I am. And there's a lot of people who have barely hanging on by a thread that can't wait for this system to crash. You won't have to wait too much longer. It's coming. Because now we're not the only ones that's suffering in this system. So you know it's coming to an end.
Yo, all these cuts that Donald Trump is making to civil rights, those were specifically designed for Black Americans to benefit from because of historical discrimination. But you know who benefited the most from affirmative action and all these other policies? The white woman. You know who else benefited from this? LGBT. You know who majority makes up LGBT? White people. And then sprinkle the leftovers to the Black Americans, Latino, and Hispanics. But even the Latino and Hispanics had a policy specifically designed for them, DACA. What affirmative action is supposed to have been for Black Americans, DACA was exclusively that for Latinos and Hispanics. Affirmative action and DACA, they was double dipping. Black Americans were nothing more than just the face. You see this, Uncle Ben? This is a black man. But this company is not owned by Black people. This was the original owner, an English immigrant. These are the current owners, Mars, the Mars family. So, yeah, they have a black face on their product, but black people do not own it. Maybe they work for Mars, but they're not getting the major profit. Similar to that, those programs that Trump is cutting. So any room you see a black person in, especially that black woman, black American woman, is because of merit. And 9 times out of 10, they did double the work to get there, even triple.
As someone who was in a cult, I can confidently say that only cults require ideological loyalty. So the next time someone says that you have to adhere to their ideology or you're a bad person and can't be in their life anymore, keep that in mind.
This is your reminder. We are resting. Some of you may need to unplug completely from social media and the news because, as I have said, we are under spiritual attack. The goal is to break us spiritually, and some of y'all are already folding. Executive orders cannot change laws that Congress has made. So that order is not revoking the Civil Rights Act of 1965. What is happening is at the federal level. So federal employees and contractors. Is that bad? Yes. Is it as bad as y'all are crashing out for it to be? No. The most important thing for you to do right now is to take care of yourself. Please take some deep breaths in through the nose, hold for 4, and out through the mouth. Recenter yourself and ground yourself. Everything is going to be okay. Do we have work to do? Yes. Are we resting from solving other people's problems? Also, yes. But we must, and I mean must, get our spiritual house in order and regulate our emotions, regulate our nervous systems. That will help us learn to respond and not react. My visceral reaction was to crash out when I first saw it too, but because I have regulated my emotions and my nervous system, I did some homework and found out what really is going on. This is probably going to conclude part 1, and I will be back with a second part later, because right now I need you to just focus on deep cleansing breaths and recentering yourself.
No, because if you are willing to cut off family, friends, anybody in your own personal life whose views don't perfectly align with yours, you're the problem right now. You're the problem right now, and I guarantee that kind of behavior will cause more of a divide in your own life than this election ever will. Okay? It's your true colors are showing. I opened up Facebook this morning to so many posts saying, if you voted for this person, I don't care who you are, go ahead and unfriend me. I'm gonna let the trash take itself out. Okay, girl. I do not care who you voted for, but I do care how you're treating people who voted differently than you. And that's what it really boils down to. I have close friends in my life who I know voted differently than me. And I'm not unfriending anybody because of the way they voted, but I will be unfriending anybody who is like openly bashing and blocking their own grandma on the Facebook comments, because that is telling me all I need to know about you as a person.
Are you people really cutting off your best friends? You know how many people have wrote under my comments that they cut off that they've been cut off by friends or relatives because of who they voted for? Are you serious? So the person that you grew up with, the person that helped you through trials and tribulations and went through things with you, you're cutting them off over who they voted for? Then you want to talk about democracy? This is the United States of America. We have the right to vote for who we want to vote for. But then you same people have to say we should be able to love who we want to love. We should be able to love gays. We should be able to love if we're gay or whatever. We should be able to, but I can't vote for the person based off me and my family because you don't like them, because you think they're the devil. The left are intolerant, and you're showing, you leftist Democrats, that you are completely intolerant of other people's beliefs and what they believe.
I think every black person in the United States of America, black women in particular, should not give no type of discourse, attention, energy on anything that's going on in the United States of America and the president of the United States of America, period. this is the first and last video I'm gonna make about anything for the next 4 years, because we already told y'all, like, like there's nothing more to say. Don't ask us for advocacy. Don't ask us to support. Don't ask us to protest, because bitch, we already told y'all. We told y'all what was going to happen. It's like it's like people really thought this man was bluffing. And that's the craziest thing about all this, is that they really thought he was bluffing, and he was banking on y'all to believe that he was bluffing. You got people talking about, no, he's signing things into, whoa, wait, Project 2025 might be coming to real, whoa, wait, yeah, what, you thought it was a joke? No one openly speaks about stuff like that, has a 90+ page manifesto, and doesn't plan on enacting any of the shit that they said they were gonna do. Like, you're the dumb one. No, wait, ICE raids are starting tomorrow. Wait, what's going on? I can't. Yeah, bro, we already told y'all, but it's all good. This ain't our fight to fight, Black Americans. Go get rich and stay under the radar, because this is not the time to be active. This is not the time to spread awareness. We tried to do that. Remember, we tried to do that. We voted correctly. Remember that. We voted correctly, and the polls show it. The stats show it. So just lay back, get rich, stay out the way, stay out the mix, and think. The only thing you need to do for the next 4 years is think. Use your head and think. Love y'all.
Donald Trump was 18 when segregation ended. Donald Trump was 18 when segregation ended, and he was 19 when President Lyndon B. Johnson signed into effect the Equal Employment Opportunity Executive Order. I'm seeing people ask why. Why would Donald Trump sign an executive order which revokes Lyndon B. Johnson's executive order? Why does he want to get rid of DEI? And my theory is vengeance. During his most formative years, from 0 to 18, he watched people fight tirelessly to not have to integrate with Black people and other people of color. And on the brink of his adulthood, segregation was ending and orders were being signed for non-discriminatory practices for hiring and employment. I feel like at one time or another, Trump was passed up for an opportunity in his life. And instead of looking inner and saying, well, maybe I just wasn't smart enough, maybe the other person was more qualified, he thought it was strictly because of the ending of segregation and these non-discriminatory practices. Also keep in mind the 1973 federal lawsuit that was brought against Trump and his company for alleged racial discrimination at his housing development. This is just my opinion, but I don't think Trump ever wanted segregation to end, and I think that he blames the ending of segregation and the implementation of equal opportunity orders on his shortcomings and some of his legal troubles, and I think that he would try to bring segregation back as much as he possibly can. I honestly think that he is holding a grudge, and this is his way of trying to vindicate it. He genuinely views anyone who is not a straight white male as a DEI hire. Only our third day out here, and it is already so spooky scary. Spooky scarier than J-Lo's live vocals. Peace and love. Talk to you later.
People will be like, I can't believe my favorite influencer voted for Trump. And I'll go look up the influencer. And the influencer looks exactly like this. Like almost every time they look exactly like this. Guys, context clues, we learned about it in school. Context clues are going to be extremely important. They've been important. They're going to continue to be important, because what do you mean you're shocked that this person voted for Trump? Look at this person. Guess who they voted for, okay? Now imagine they're a real person. What changed? Are you confused because sometimes the person who looks like this is also hot on top of that? So you're like, surely they can't be a Trump supporter if they look like this but are also attractive? Is that your confusion? No. This is the blueprint. This is the blueprint. If they look like this, perhaps don't be surprised. Is all I'm saying.
The whole history of America is the history of rich white men telling not rich white people that their enemies are Black and brown. It starts in the colonies of what would become the United States. Let's remember, during the colonial period, mid-1600s, there was no such thing as white people. I know some people who are now called white find that shocking.
No other reality that will give Americans liberation from racism and all these things that they're facing are as a result of racism, especially division that is among them. The division has already started again because of the political ideologies. So we have videos on this platform about people who are deconstructing from those ideologies, if you have not deconstructed from those, then you will keep doing the same thing over and over again, and America will still moving in circles instead of moving forward. So we are here to advocate for peace, harmony, unity, everything that is good for comfortability, for people to live and enjoy life. Are you not kind of tired of the situation that is happening in the US right now? If people are striving, working 9 to 5 jobs and having even 4 to 3, sometimes even I've seen people having 5 jobs. How are you going to get out of this situation if you don't decolonize your mind? That's how I have to say it. Because if the concept of race was brought up so that it can bring divide between you guys, and so that you will keep focusing on those small things that has to do with the color of the skin of your neighbor, of, I don't know, to terrorize the person next to you, then it has to start with you and change. Be the change that you'd want to see in the society. That was it about this video. I appreciate your love and support my content, and to my returning viewers, I love and appreciate you, and also like the video for recommendation. You can as well support the channel. Goodbye for now. I appreciate you.